Good evening and welcome to Omnibros Live. I'm one of your co-hosts, Omnidog, also known as Omni Douchebag to some of you out there, apparently.
I prefer Jessimus Prime.
I should have changed it to Jessimus Prime. I should. I wonder if I can do that. I wonder if I can check out and check back in. But we're with the Omnibus Collector himself, Ryley Mo, and Lou from Comics Guy 101. And let me see if I can change my name real quick.
Did we just lose him?
Well, now are we gonna be our Transformers? Should you be Lou Scream now?
Maybe.
We all scream for Lou Scream.
Now we can talk bad about Jess behind his back. Let's do it.
Oh, right. I was secretly the one that called him a douchebag on my fake account. I hate that guy.
I could totally hear you the whole time. Okay, so here we are. And tonight, at around midnight, we're going to be giving away the IST gift card.
Yeah, we're going long in the tooth tonight.
Yeah, I don't have my marathon buddy Geo yet, so I don't know if we're actually going to do it. But we are giving the IST gift card away tonight. And tonight's episode was called Compliments, Complaints. Wait, compliments? What is tonight's episode called? Comments, compliments, complaints.
I saw it a second ago. Comments, compliments, complaints, and controversy.
Right.
I read that and I was like, I thought we were talking about Spider-Man.
We are. That's all of that goes to that book.
All of it, everything.
Except for the compliments. So this would be a good time for me to talk about InStockTrades.com, our fabulous sponsor, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Wait, I have a banner for this. Even I have that.
Ooh.
Fancy.
I know. Up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. Tonight, as in the end of every month, we're giving away a $50 gift card that they are kind enough to give us to give away to a viewer like you, and we'll go into details about that much later. Like it'll be tomorrow morning by the time we talk about it, probably. If you order $50 or more in an order from InStockTrades.com, you get free shipping in the United States. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's InStockTrades.com. There's InStockTrades.com. Here's another banner I have.
This is a contender.
This is a contender that we're talking about.
Oh, is it? Is it?
Yeah, or did I just spoil it for everybody?
I don't know. You did say it's probably the best thing you've read since Irredeemable.
Shut your whore mouth. And pre-show Omnidog. No, this is not the airing of grievances episode. We keep that for Batter Days in the Batcave, where we air our grievances. But we did all read a book, and we're going to review it tonight and take your questions and talk about things in the world of comic books. And wait, that spoilers is really annoying. Cut it out. Okay. And talk about things in the world of comic books, because there sure is a lot of news all the time about movies and TV shows and everything starring comic book characters, and it's a good time to be a nerd. And this is not true. I am not root beer drunk. I have cranberry and soda water.
Ooh. How is that?
Perfect. Yeah, it's super refreshing and super light, and it takes the place of soda for me because it's with carbonated water with a little bit of cranberry in there, and it tastes really good.
Do you find it's tough to kick the sugar from soda? So that's you're substituting it with something like that.
Yeah, it's not. If I use something like this, it's not hard to kick soda because this is just sweet and fizzy enough to remind me. Although I do sort of miss the caffeine from like a Diet Coke, so I'll just have a cup of coffee in the middle of the afternoon. And Jesse Kristan, it's like he's Madam Community reading our minds.
I wish I was reading people's minds instead of that book.
Oh my god! You want to get into it?
Yeah, I'm not pouring root beer on it because it's on my iPad, so forget that. However, did either of you guys see Superman and Lois? That was supposed to be pretty good. Oh, you did see it. Okay. Thoughts?
It was good. Okay, so as an initial pilot, I have to say I was actually pretty impressed. It was good. I'm not a CW guy because we mentioned it on the show 1,000 times, but it's the 22 episode thing. I just can't commit to something like that. I don't have the time for it. But I got curious of the pilot. It's only an hour long, and I have to say I liked it, and I kind of want to stick with it. It was really, really good, and I think they really captured the essence of the Big Blue Boy Scout a whole lot. And Jess, you'll like it because there's a line in it that is taken directly out of a Mark Waid Superman story. And it fits really well within the tone of what that event is. It's great. Cool. Yeah.
Well, I like the actress that plays Lois Lane. She was in Grimm, one of my favorite shows. So I've always liked her. She's a good actress.
She's great. Everybody in this is really good. The kids are great. I think it's Hochlin is the main actor's name. He, for me, is so far probably the best on-screen Superman I've seen since Smallville, Tom Welling, for me. I'm excited. For the first time in a long time, I'm actually excited for the future of Superman and what they're doing with him on TV. And I'm going to stick with it. I really am. There are so many little nods, too, to comic fans. I sent you a picture, and you could see he's wearing the classic symbol with like the black S in it, and I was just like, you got me. You sold me on that because that's I love that suit.
So you get Superman right off the bat. There's not a bunch of Clark Kent goofing around or anything. You see Superman right away.
It's a good balance. They strike a good balance between Clark Kent and Superman in the show. It's a very good balance. It mostly focuses on him being a family. Like this. I don't think we ever really have gotten that on TV, him actually being a father and trying to be a mentor and everything. And I'm enjoying it so far.
Oh, okay. So he and Lois are married and do they have Jonathan Kent?
They have 2 kids.
Oh, they have 2 kids.
Yeah. I think it was 2.
Oh, this sounds really interesting.
It's good. It's really good. I recommend you check it out, Jess. You'll dig it.
Okay.
I saw the one clip, the my mom made it for me clip from For All Seasons.
That's what I'm talking about. Yeah.
That made that's all I saw, and just watching that immediately I was like, I lit up like a Christmas tree. I was like, his delivery on that is so perfect. The kid saying, I love your or that's a cool costume. Thanks, my mom made it for me. And just says it with the smile, and I was like, oh man.
And here's the thing, that is such a line that could have fallen really flat and could have been really, really bad, but it works. It works within the context of what's going on. I'm in.
Wow,
absolutely.
You guys are getting me pretty excited for this.
I only saw that 20-second clip, so don't thank me. But it did definitely make me want to check it out. But like Lou was saying, it's hard to commit to 20 episodes at an hour long each. So I don't know if I'll be able to keep up and watch a whole season of stuff. But even if I can't watch it, knowing that just in that one clip, I could tell that they got it. They knocked it out of the park. And even I've had my small grievances saying he just doesn't look like Superman to me. But I don't care because the way he carries himself in that one scene, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter what he looks like. This guy has got it.
And he carries that throughout the whole episode. He doesn't necessarily look like the stereotypical what you would think Clark Kent, but he pulls it off well in the way that he acts and the way he delivers the lines and all that. It's a solid check it out. I mean, if the pilot is any indication for the rest of the season, it's worth it. You can tell I'm never gonna get this guy's name right. You can tell that he really cares about the character and he understands it, the actor. And this is definitely a love letter, and that's what I like about it a lot.
Yeah, I think this is only a 13 episode season.
Great, even better for me.
I don't think it's a full 22 episodes. Maybe the chat can correct me on that.
Yeah,
I'm not sure. But I feel like somebody told me it wasn't a full season.
It's good. No, I recommend you check it out, Jess. I think you'll dig it.
Okay, good. Because I've been watching my my Batman animated series, and I'm also watching Brave and the Bold cartoon, which is amazing. And that's good to hear that. I feel like DC really does television well. For all their faults in the movie theaters, and to me, it's really only a couple of things, but they stick out really badly. I will say at the end of Wonder Woman, this is something that Jim Starlin said. I mean, Jim Starlin basically created the cosmic universe at Marvel, and he got jack for it. And he got credit and money from DC for creating Steppenwolf from Justice League. And I saw at the end of Wonder Woman 84 that just for the golden armor from Kingdom Come, that Mark Waid and Alex Ross got credit and probably checks too. So that's pretty darn good for creators, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I don't know that he actually got anything for Thanos, did he? The way he sounded like it's he didn't get jack diddly wah.
Well, there was a point in films where they didn't even give credit to the original writers and stuff like that. Some of those early what was it? I think even in the original cuts of those Batman films from the 90s and even the Burton Batman 89, I don't think they gave credit to the original creators, right?
Oh,
that was a more recent thing.
I don't remember paying attention back then to that kind of stuff, but I know that they now add Bill Finger to all Batman stuff.
As they should. Like it might have said from the whatever from Bob Kane, blah blah blah, like maybe, but it's been long enough that because I was never paying attention. I know like one of my favorite things to do with all the Marvel movies is always like wait until towards the end of the credits when you see like the special thanks to section and then it lists all the different creators, because I'd like to be like, oh that he did this and he did that and they did this and blah blah blah, just to kind of see like where they're claiming that the inspiration came from. That's always fun for me.
Can you highlight Rick Nelson's comment at 8:24? If you get a chance and you want your heart broken, there is a Bill Finger documentary. I think it's on Amazon. You can watch it if you have Prime. That'll break your heart on the whole situation. It's an amazing documentary, though.
I think now that they do give Bill Finger credit, but I know that previously only Bob Kane got credit. Rick's right.
Yeah.
You've been talking about that documentary forever, how great it is and how heartbreaking it is. Yeah.
It is insanely. It's on Hulu. It's insanely heartbreaking, but it's a kind of, in a way, a beautiful redemption story, because Bill Finger, through that documentary, finally got the credit he deserved. Because it turns out Bob Kane was kind of a dick, and he took a lot more credit for the creation of the character than what he should have gotten. And Bill Finger pretty much died broke and in really rough shape. And it's a great documentary, because throughout the documentary, they're thinking, well, Bill Finger never really had any family after he passed on. And it turns out he did. And they find that family, and it's great.
Well, that's part of the documentary where they find the family.
Yes,
that's interesting.
It's good. It's very good.
I watched that one a while ago. It was definitely a good one. I think I watched it back towards when it first came out on Hulu.
I was mad.
Batman and Bill, I think is the title.
I forgot. It came out like 3 or 4 years ago, but I remember being mad by the time it was done.
Yeah. It was a really good one. My wife and I need to watch more like lighthearted documentaries because we're watching too many crime ones and like.
Oh yeah, you're afraid people are breaking into your house,
dude. It was like I was on the video call with a therapist yesterday morning or Tuesday morning, I don't remember when, and she's like, "How's your sleeping been?" I was like, let me tell you about the other night. We've been watching too many crime documentaries, and this is what happened. And she's like, all right, well, I don't think that has anything to do, because we're talking about medication. I was like, she just doesn't have anything to do with your medication, I think, but let me know if it happens again. I'm like, all right, I think like I was having a nightmare, and then when I was woken up, it just like, it's like when you see people with like night terrors in the movies and they're just like screaming. So that's how I feel about the Spider-Man comic. to rope it back around.
Wow.
You guys want to get into it? The Spider-Man book?
I was happy to get out of it.
Okay, this was recommended by the audience to us. Never recommend anything again to us.
No, I think I don't think it was recommended. They said it was really crappy, and I made the challenge that you and I, Lou, should read it for Thursday's show just to like punish ourselves, and nobody recommended it to us. They said something about it, and I said, "Oh, let's read it for Thursday's show." So if you want somebody to blame, like you blame me for spoiling Daredevil 25, you can blame me for this. This was my idea.
And then I was like, I'll do it too, because I know I've already read part of it.
Jesse Christian says, I never recommended it. I said to dunk on it.
Well, I think we're definitely going to dunk on it three ways over here. No.
Yeah, let me pull up. I also made sure I got that. I got all 3 issues of that because
you can wash your mouth out.
I beg your pardon?
You can wash your mouth out with that.
Yeah.
Wash the flavor.
My eyes. See. Okay, get off. Marvel Unlimited. There you go. Okay. So I'm trying to navigate. Okay, it's called Spider-Man Bloodline. And I don't know how to navigate everything yet. Okay, here we go. Spider-Man 1. Okay, this is actually a very beautiful cover, I think.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The covers aren't by Sarah Pacelli. Colors are by Dave Stewart, but who did the covers? Uh-oh.
They trick you with that one, man.
Yeah. We'll get into it, but I'll show you the. So that looks good.
Mm-hmm.
And this is like the opening scene to the book.
No context.
Exactly. There was not only was there no context, but nothing was going on. Nothing ever. Okay. Nothing ever explained anything in the beginning of what was happening and why, and what happened to everybody involved.
Well, that's the entire book, Jess.
Well, yeah, but
they don't explain anything ever at any point in this book.
There's a human spider at some point. I don't know how the fuck we got there, but it just happens.
Yeah, and this confused me because the creatures were saying, "Help us, Spider-Man, we need you." And I thought, that's somebody crying for help or something. And then he unleashes a bunch of these robot anteater alien looking dudes.
It's like ripped off versions of the 90s Spider Slayer.
There is nothing original in this book. There is literally not a single thing, and we don't usually dunk on books this bad. We don't. We really usually stay pretty positive if this is your first time watching this.
We try to be positive about books. We try to talk about books we love because we want to recommend books to you that you'll enjoy.
Right. If you want to see all that negativity, there are tons of other YouTube channels out there that they do that. Having said that, this was terrible.
Well, there's at least one positive in that you don't have to read this. Yeah, we did, but like it's not like required reading for you to be alive or anything. Like you could live your entire life not reading this story and you'd be fine.
You'd be better off.
You'd be better off. Like that's the biggest positive, is that it exists and it is entirely optional for everybody in this world. It was optional for us and we chose the wrong route.
And then, there's the funeral scene. This is young Ben Parker, who is the son of Mary Jane and Peter. And Peter saved the city but couldn't save his mom. And somehow all other heroes except Spider-Man got killed. I didn't see that. I didn't even see that happening.
Because it isn't mentioned until like issue 4.
Because then they showed up. Yeah, okay. They showed up in issue 4.
And they're metal. They're like made out of metal zombie. Okay, so general premise of this.
What was it?
God. So good. God damn it, I'm usually pretty good at this shit.
What was this book about?
Are you going to... Okay, so like there's the scorned scientist who was fired from Stark whenever Howard was in charge.
Right.
And then something happens to his wife and he spends his life trying to figure out how to bring her back.
But right. That's like the big twist in issue 4. The first 3 issues are basically a retread of everything you've seen before, but done a lot better, where for whatever reason, Spider-Man gets his ass kicked in the first page without any context. And you go through the first issue and then it's like, 10 years later, he's got a son. And apparently he's a bum of a father and he's an absentee dad and living in Colombia or some shit like that. And he's missing a hook and an arm, which caught me by surprise.
They don't explain that, do they?
Well, in the early pages, you showed, I think like page 2 or 3, his arm is in tatters after fighting the big thing.
Oh, yeah, right here.
Yeah, so his arm is all tattered and stuff in that frame, and you're just supposed to look at that and just assume, okay, they had to cut his arm off. But here's the first thing that I thought was like, this takes place further in the future. Right now, we have better prosthetics than that.
Yeah.
We have fucking Tony Stark who rebuilt
exactly
line for Rhodey. Like, you can't give him a regular robotic arm. I thought the same thing too.
Yeah, that was the first thing. I was like, why does he have a classic retro style hook hand like Woody Harrelson in the movie Kingpin?
That's his bowling arm. He goes bowling.
God, I like. Here's the thing, though. When this series, so I completely forgot, but the first issue came out in 2019. It came out in 2019, and then like there was massive delays in between. So I know I read the first issue when it came out, and I don't remember if I read the second or third when they came out, but I know I didn't read the last few when they came out, at least the last 2. But I read that first one, and I was like, okay, like, I wanted to give it the shot. And I'm like, it's, you got J.J. Abrams and Sarah Pichelli and whatever. But like, it was the kind of thing where I like it like we've been saying, it throws you in the middle of everything. And that's the narrative structure in its own, and media rest and stuff is a thing. But like, you have to go back and give better, like, I don't know. To do that, you have to have better hooks. And I feel like you're tossed. Yeah.
Here's the thing. They go with the old trope, will kill Mary Jane in the first few pages.
It just, there's nothing explained. There's nothing interesting. There's no context. So like you're thrown into not even the middle, but like the end of a battle. And you're just supposed to be like, okay, well, I guess that happened. And like, I guess that's supposed to give you context as to why, like, basically Peter retires from being Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And then you just get flung forward and it's like, but this isn't a story about Peter. This is a story about Ben. And then we get to see Ben Parker and who
is a little shit. I don't like him at all.
Yeah. He's a dumb kid.
Except for this kid.
They do not, but the thing is, they don't make him likable at all. They really don't.
No, not for a minute.
And also, here's the thing: like, he's supposed to not know anything about his lineage. He's not supposed to know anything about his dad being Spider-Man. He starts having the moments like you see with all the different superhero teen stories where like his powers start showing and he's like, oh my gosh, what's happening to me? And he goes home and like Aunt May is just immediately like, oh yeah, your dad's Spider-Man.
Here's the suit. Like, here you go.
Yeah, she pulls out the suit. She's like, there you go. And I'm like, there's literally no like sequence of her trying to play coy and being like, oh, it's just puberty. Like the jokes like we got during Spider-Verse or anything with Miles. She just straight up is like, oh, looks like it's time to tell you something that your dad never wanted you to know. Here's his suit.
And this was the most forced, uninteresting dynamic relationship between these two who end up fighting crime together. It was like there was no back and forth for a while. There was like snippy comments for a page and then all of a sudden they're best friends.
I don't understand okay, so that dialogue was terrible, number one. But number two, I feel like the next time you see her, she shows up at his house
in a suit for no reason.
And like there's no like context as to why, as far as I can remember, but I'm gonna be honest, I was like falling asleep while reading this. I was like, what? And I went back and forth a few times because I kept thinking that I missed something.
Yeah.
And that was pretty much never the case. But like she shows up at his house with this suit for her like alter ego, her like what is she called? Marker or something. Yeah. And she's just she tags stuff, she spray paints things. Yeah. And I'm like, were we supposed to know something about this ahead of time? Like, did she explain this? Was there something that I missed where she explains that she has an alternate identity? And he's just like totally cool with being like, oh yeah, and I'm like Spider Boy or whatever.
Like whatever, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like that's one of the parts where it really started to like, it was already like, okay, this is not good. But that's the part where it started to really crumble into pieces for me, where I'm sitting there like, wait, there's no exposition for these things. And not only that, but she shows up like that and Aunt May is there and Aunt May's just like, yeah, whatever. It's like,
she's like,
oh yeah, I remember when Peter was younger and he was Spider-Man and all of his friends in random costumes used to come through. Like, what? No.
Can I say this was probably the worst Tony Stark I've ever read? By far.
I forgot Tony was in this.
And he's back off the wagon.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I think they tried to write it like Robert Downey, but the problem is he comes off more ADD than anything else. As somebody who has ADD, he comes off more where he changes on a dime for like topics and it doesn't really make sense. They try to write that Robert Downey dialogue, but it's not there, and they don't have the skill to pull it off.
And what's he doing underground, down in a bunker?
Drinking.
All he's doing is, as a recovering alcoholic, let me just say, at some point, you do need to go outdoors. You can't actually sustain your life in a basement drinking as much as alcoholics would like to do it. You do have to interface with humanity at some point, and it's not even a realistic depiction of alcoholics because he's locked away in a secret tunnel or basement that all of a sudden Riri Jones or whatever her name is shows up, and she's not very likable. What's her name?
Riri Williams.
Riri Williams.
Yeah, and then her entrance was really random as well. Like she pops in out of nowhere, and like they give her, she has like her badge from work, and it says she's now the CEO of Stark Industries or whatever. So like that's the entire exposition for her character coming in. And then that leads towards her being like, oh, hey, come with me. Here's Tony Stark. He's old and gray and he's drunk in the basement.
Yeah. Can somebody explain to me? Can somebody explain to me the spider thing? A woman just turns into a spider out of nowhere.
Dude, I don't.
Oh yeah, after she's injected with the serum.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, she's injected with this guy's serum that turns all the heroes into test tube metal guys in the life containers, and he thinks it's going to rejuvenate her, and it turns her into a spider gradually, like in one panel.
Yeah, that happened so quickly. Like I was reading and I literally thought that I skipped a page because all of a sudden there's a giant red spider that has Peter like in a web, and Ben and the graffiti chick have to go save him. And I was like, flip back. Did I miss something? And they're like, this is because it was like it goes from this is the point, like halfway into the series or whatever, where we learn who the bad guy is, and it's the guy who got fired from Stark Tech back when Howard was apparently in charge, and he also did something to Oscorp, and he also did things to other people, and he wants his wife back. And there's like so little explanation of anything there. You're just supposed to roll with it. And it's like, so he's mad and he wants his wife back, and he's taking it out on everyone else. And I guess that he's also killed a bunch of superheroes, but he's like set up as this such a non-threat, non-character. Like there's nothing behind him that really makes you care or give half of a shit.
Who are we talking about right now?
The bad guy.
The bad guy. Okay, here's Tony Stark sitting in a hot rod in a basement drinking with sunglasses on indoors. And Nate has a good question. I never read The Crossing, so I can't answer this.
Yeah, I've never read it.
I didn't either.
Sorry, Nate.
Sorry, buddy. Thank you for the $2 though.
We'll have to ask Omar. Thank you, sir. We'll have to ask Omar. He'll tell you that nothing's
Okay. So the robot superhero part that just randomly happens, I'm like, oh shit, the robot Hulk. It's gonna be a real threat. He webs him up with spider webs and then he's done.
And here's Mary Jane in robot form.
Is that her? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
He saves, that's Peter in the test tube, and she saves him. Oh, you didn't know that?
No.
No, because there's like barely any context.
Right.
You don't have the context until like they get the serum thingy and he stabs her with it instead of taking it for himself.
Here, Taylor Reads Comics or Taylor Talks Comics has a good question. Here's the important question. I remember Jess going back and forth on if he was, this is a good memory of yours, Taylor. If he was okay with the nepotism of this project. I remember when it first got announced. What's the final answer? If this had been really amazing, then it would have been apparent to somebody maybe that first of all, I'm not going to dump on this kid because he's only like 23, and I'm sure he poured his heart and soul into it, so I don't want to blame him. I'll blame his father instead. There's so much nepotism in the entertainment industry anyway. You can't really get away with it. But in comic books, it's like JR had to draw his way into comics. He didn't get a pass because his dad was a famous artist. And writers usually have to, if they're the sons or daughters of a famous writer, I can't think of an example now. All I could think of was JR. You're not gonna normally see Marvel or DC just say, because you're John Byrne's son, we're gonna give you a comic book.
Yeah.
You actually have to earn it in comic books. So I am not okay with this form of nepotism, because it's obvious that this young man and his dad weren't really ready to write comics, and they got in. I'll blame Marvel for it too, for allowing it to happen and foisting it upon us. There was no previous. There's nothing like any previous work to base it on that they deserved a comic book.
Yeah, and I see people in the chat mentioning Joe Hill, but Joe Hill proved himself before. Joe Hill had a series of books.
Joe Hill can write.
And the thing is, it's not that it's not possible, because we've seen several examples of celebrities that have broken in and actually have done really well. Gerard Way wrote Umbrella Academy, which is fucking awesome. But Gerard Way also went to school for this stuff before he became a musician and all that. Joe Hill, we've seen people actually come into the comic book medium and actually do pretty well. But I'm kind of wondering, I think you're right, Jess, where they probably came in and go, oh yeah, well, this is J.J. Marvel was probably like, this is J.J. Abrams. We could snap a name on the cover of the book and it'll sell. We don't really have to worry so much. And another example, Kevin Smith is another example. Say what you want, but Kevin Smith's actually written some pretty okay stuff in the past. Nothing amazing for me, and he wrote Widening Gyre, which was terrible. But he's written some pretty good stuff in the past. I think you nailed it, though. I think they saw a name, they slapped it on the book, and poor Sarah Pacelli and Dave Stewart, they seem like they are phoning this one in, man. They really do.
Yeah, I noticed in our chat that the OmniBros chat that both Omar and, I don't know, one of you guys maybe said that this wasn't Sarah Pacelli's finest work, because she's really well known as a really popular and talented artist, and it didn't really show through on this series.
I have to wonder, like, if she was, when given the scripts, if she's just like, oh man, this is just not going to be worth it, and it's just putting through the work for the paycheck. Because reading her from stuff like on the Miles Morales comics and stuff, she blew me away the first time I saw her artwork, and this just didn't do it. And I feel like what they did was like giving the book to Abrams was what Marvel was seeing, was like, okay, J.J. Abrams, big director. He's done Star Wars, Star Trek. He's done, all these other movies and stuff. His name is one that we can sell a book on. But I think that J.J. probably didn't have much to do with it. I feel like maybe he just lent his name to it, and it was mostly his kid that did the writing.
Oh God.
And he just kind of like let it go, because there is like very little actual skill towards the storytelling that's in here. And it's something where, like, despite how you feel about, like the newer Star Wars movies, J.J. Abrams has had a lot of stuff under his belt where I think he's proven that he's got a lot of talent in storytelling.
Yeah.
And this doesn't have any of that in there. And I feel like it was basically just like, bring your kid to work day. And he just and this is why I asked, like, before I read the rest of it, because I told you guys, I've read part of it, I'll read the rest of it so I can join you guys. And I asked you, Jess, I was like, how old is his son? Because I was thinking, like, 15. Is his son like a 12-year-old or something?
I honestly thought he was 15, 12, something like that. Because I didn't want to go too hard on him, because I was like, all right, 15 or 12-year-old. Okay. But apparently he's 22. So
yeah.
Yeah, he was 22 when he wrote it, I think.
Yeah.
23, 24, somewhere in there.
But, like, if he was younger, I would have been like, dude, come on. We've got freaking Axe Cop, which is written by, like, a 7-year-old, or was 7 at the time, is way better than this. So I don't know, like this is just, there are so many just lazy points in just lacking of telling a story.
Yeah.
Just jumping from scene to scene. There's so much, because like in telling a sequential story like that, you have to let the audience fill in the blanks, but you have to give them the context to be able to accurately fill in those blanks. Like I don't need to know that they walked down the hall to get somewhere, but like I have to be able to visualize that something like that happened.
Mm-hmm.
And there's so many points in this comic where, like I mentioned, I had to flip back and forth to see if I missed something, because it just felt like chunks of context were missing. And it just wasn't anything that was terribly interesting to anything that I had seen.
Right.
Okay, now I'm actually angry because strictly through his name, this guy got a book. When somebody with actual talent, like Frank Vogel, who's pounding the streets all the time, selling his work, which is really good work. He's written 3 or 4 really good comic books in a row. He could have been somebody that should have been given a chance for this.
Exactly.
If you're just going to give Spider-Man to somebody, give it to Frank Vogel.
Exactly.
He's a young, up-and-coming writer. He doesn't have a famous last name. But, I mean, if you're just throwing Spider-Man out there to somebody, give it to an up-and-coming writer that is has proven that he has talent.
Yep. And this isn't a small character. This isn't like, oh, let's give, this guy like a small character. This is freaking Spider-Man. This is one of Marvel's tentpole characters. And that was actually part of one of the reasons why I was mad the other day when I was reading this. Because you nailed it on the head. They could have easily given this to somebody else who was a great up and coming writer, somebody who needed a shot at maybe breaking out in the mainstream. There's thousands of guys. We see them every time we're at the con circuit who are trying to get their name out with books, with things that they pour their heart and soul into. And they give this, I'm being nice, they give this kid, because of his dad's name most likely, the keys to one of the biggest characters in Marvel's staple for 6 issues. And not only that, they give him Sarah Pichelli and Dave Stewart, who is one of the best, if not the best, colorist in the industry. And the thing is, God bless Sarah Pichelli. I know she must have just like looked at the script, like Ryley said, and just been like, well, shit. Because this is not up to her quality of work. She is an amazing artist. We've seen it time and again, and it's just not there in this. The paneling does not make sense. It goes from one panel to the next, and it does not transition smoothly at all. Shit just happens, and it doesn't make sense.
People become giant spiders. and much earlier, Lou, you mentioned like there's not an original idea in this. And when you look at like every single thing that happens in here, you can be like, and this was kind of like this, and this was kind of like this. Because like the like weird bio robot things that do everything, those things are basically like the Spider Slayers. These heroes, it's basically like the Deathlocks. You get
I had no idea that they were even in the comic.
You just see like, I think there's like a Thunderbolt comes down, and then all of a sudden, or Lightning Bolt comes down, and then Thor appears. And I was like, that was random. And then all of a sudden it goes to the next page, and I was like, oh, I guess like, is Thor coming to help? Oh, he's a robot. He's a Deathlock. That's what they are. The idea, of Peter, an older Peter, has been shown so many times with kids. It's been shown so many times in the Spider-Girl MC2 stuff, in the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows storylines, all these different things. Peter having a kid that has powers has been shown so many times. It's nothing original. Like, none of it is original. They can't even give him a clever name. They just call him Ben. Like, it's just so tired and so uninspired. I hope he did.
He's rich. He'll be fine. The boy will be fine.
He's gonna kick him out and be like, "Don't come back until you learn how to write a story."
Oh my god! Take some creative writing classes in college.
Dude,
that's all I'm asking, man.
It doesn't take much. It really doesn't take that much. It's like he had an outline for a story in his head, and instead of finishing the outline for the story, he just presented that.
Yeah.
And they're like, okay.
This book took 15 months to come out.
Dude.
6 issues. 5 issues. 5 issues. 15 months. Why?
There was a good question in here in the chat as to how much it sold. I wonder if it sold well, and what that number would be to say that it sold well. Can somebody look that up? Tell me how much it sold. I'd ask Siri, but she'll just disappoint me.
See, this is Spider-Man 2019. Are we looking at just the issue?
It was critically panned. I was looking at this, and it was not critically well received.
Shocking.
Yeah.
No, chat, Omnidog. Taylor's like the Invisibles and just over our heads.
No, the Invisibles is under my head, but this is like, I wish I could shove my head through it.
Jesse Kristan is saying he thinks the first and second issues were pretty high in sales. That's interesting. I'd be interested in what the drop off was based on the fact that it took 15 months to complete, or the fact that people read the first 2 issues and went, I think I'm going to move on to some other hobby.
I'm trying to see, like, I'm seeing here is just like the sales are good. Like the sales were really good, and that's bad is what it's saying.
So I guess we're reviewing volume 2 in a few years.
Oh my gosh.
I just can't find actual numbers.
Okay. I understand when like Warren Ellis, Planetary took like 6 years to come out.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was thinking about. I'm talking about delayed things.
Yeah.
But it was also phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not finding the all I'm finding is like the sales are booming is all I was able to find. I wasn't able to find specific numbers or anything like that, but sales are going through the roof. Even if it's Dookie.
Okay. Numbers refer to non-returnable sales to retailers. They don't really show how many issues were bought by readers. Okay. Okay. Was it as bad as Batman Damned?
No.
That continues to be the standard for which we compare bad books?
I'm going to say no.
I
agree with your no. It wasn't as bad as Batman Damned.
Yeah, I don't think it was outrageously as like offensive as far as like, for whatever reason, Brian Azzarello, who is a writer who is in comics, who has made a name for himself, did not get any of the characters correct in that book. This book was like, it was bad, but that it didn't come from someone who is in comics, like we were talking about. It's just like, this shouldn't have been Baby's first comic. Like Henry Abrams or whatever his first name is, like his first work in comics should have been small publisher or like a self-published miniseries. It could even, honestly, it could have even been something with the exact same storyline, just not using Spider-Man and the other heroes, because you don't, like, nothing in here needed to be set in the Marvel universe because nothing made sense. Like, nothing mattered. Nothing here made sense. You could have just a random superhero who becomes crippled and then becomes an absent father, and then his son develops powers, and then it leads towards this series of events. It doesn't necessarily have to be set in the Marvel universe. You could have replaced everything with original characters, and it still would have been just the same shitty story. But Damned was just like a complete misunderstanding of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm still convinced that was editorial interference. Because to me, Brian Azzarello has written an awfully lot of good comics, and I feel like there had to have been some kind of editorial interference in that book.
I think this book needed some editorial interference.
Okay, so Jesse Christian said issue 1 sold 150,000 units.
I hate you all.
And issue 2 sold 60,000 units. That's a pretty typical drop.
Yeah.
From 1 to 2. I think
it's definitely a high number, but it's Spider-Man and it's J.J. Abrams. So it's something that's like, it's going to sell regardless. Like it was said earlier, like, this is just comic shop sales. Like, this is shops buying stuff, assuming this is going to sell because of those two things.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I haven't been into a shop since, I've been to a couple, but like, I imagine at the time this was coming out, they probably had posters on the windows and stuff like that are like, J.J. Abrams Spider-Man, blah, 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 Sarah Pichelli, and has like a beautiful cover on the poster and all that. They probably hyped the hell out of it. Like, Marvel probably advertised this quite a bit and gave incentives to the retailers, telling them, you've got the incentive variant covers, blah, 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 great artists that are working on it. People are going to want those covers. So that definitely pumps up the sales right there. But I think it is a pretty decent size. Like, if it was any other miniseries, the sales wouldn't be that high.
So it's an indictment on the comic industry itself.
It's a blood in the industry.
A pox.
On the industry.
Pox on the industry.
Okay. Well, let's talk about something we've read recently that we really enjoyed. What have we read recently? I know you just said you read Constantine by Cy Spurrier, and you really loved that, Lou.
I did. I read the one-shot issue that came out before the main series came out. I think there was like a one-shot. It was very good. It was. I talked about it. I think really briefly on Monday. Cy Spurrier, man, he really, for me, it's no secret that Constantine over the last few years as a character has been dragged through the mud through DC because they don't know what to do with him after that Vertigo run ran its course and it was over. He was the New 52 version, which he didn't smoke. He chewed bubblegum or something stupid like that. And Jess, you said that was terrible. I didn't read it, but you said it was terrible.
Yeah.
And I was kind of curious because I had heard, hey, this new run is great. And I know, Jess, you read all 300 issues of that original Vertigo run.
Good.
So you are very familiar with the character, and you told me you should really check this out. I loved it. I love Spurrier's Hellblazer. I still haven't gotten past that one issue because I've been so busy with work, and I've been jumping around also right now with Hickman's X-Men and trying to catch up to X of Swords and stuff like that, and testing the water to see what I like and don't like from that stuff. But from that, I dug the hell out of it. It's such a fun start to the series, and Spurrier right off the bat, he gets John's voice and he knows who the character is because in the first panel alone, John is pretty much just setting up Chaz to go be a sacrificial lamb and blow himself up in a car. And I'm like, yep, that's John. Yeah, that's John. He'll screw somebody over to get the job done. And we then flash forward. We then kind of because of those events, he gets a piece of like a metal flies into the side of him, and he's like, well, shit. And then he falls to the ground and he starts bleeding out. He is then approached by, I'm not going to give away who, and the guy basically offers him, okay, I want your soul in exchange. I'm not going to give away who that is because that was a big moment.
A great touch.
It was a great moment, and I didn't see that coming. I was like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah.
I want your soul in exchange for giving you another shot. And John is like, all right, fuck it. I've been in this situation before. Yeah, take it. And it cuts, and all of a sudden he wakes up in, I think it's Ravencroft. He wakes up in the asylum, and he's like, well, shit, I've been here before. But it's 2019, and this is the John from, I think, the 1970s or 1980s that he pulls out. So he gets to play a little bit with the fish out of water story where he goes to like a dive bar and it's all hipsters, and he's telling jokes and the hipsters are offended, so they throw him out of the bar. And, and it's really a fun book, guys. It really, really is, man. I'm really disappointed that I heard it's only 12 issues because
pulled the rug out from under him. And
apparently there's a lot of, from what I was reading, there's a lot of button of the heads there. There's a lot of bad blood there after that. Yeah, there's apparently Spurrier is not a fan of how they did him dirty with that run. But I'm super excited to continue reading this series and to finish this up along with like the 30 other books that I'm trying to keep up with at this point.
What have you read recently that you enjoyed, Rye?
I'll talk about this and then I'm gonna head out in a second here. But I read something that Omar enjoys, and I bought it because he had mentioned it and stuff, and it was from Dark Horse. I've just been calling it Manga Garfield or Weeb Garfield, and that is the best way to explain it. It's called What's Michael, and it's a manga series about a cat. He's orange, and it's just his day-to-day adventures. It's just a quick, every chapter is like 5 pages, and it shows, what cats get up to when their owners are around or when their owners are not around, and the things that, their owners imagine that the cats are getting up to while they're not around. And it has that very like strip comic or comic strip mentality to it of like, quick humor, very innocent humor. There's not a ton of depth to it. And being someone who's a dog owner, like it's a very different thing for me to see, but it really did feel like I was just reading Garfield the manga. Just with longer strips, 5 pages instead of 4 panels. And you don't have someone nearly as pathetic as John Arbuckle as the human in this. And instead you have like, this is what I didn't understand about, like, I didn't know if there was supposed to be continuity in this series, but like every chapter, it feels like Michael the cat is like with another house with other owners, with other humans. And I don't know if it's just something where like the cat migrates between homes a lot or something like that, but like everyone knows his name, I guess, because they're always like Michael. But like he goes from like a young married couple, and then he like will hang out with a Yakuza member, and then he like goes and hangs out with this big like tough looking bachelor dude. It just goes like different situations, and the different characters have their own sense of their own personalities, and then that humor rubs off with like whatever Michael does and stuff like that. One of I think my favorite strip was just, it's very quick and kind of clever. The owner of a house walks out, and Michael is walking around the corner of the house, just a cat wandering around the neighborhood, and is like sees the guy and like ducks back around the corner. He's scared of the guy, and the guy looks and he's like, oh, it's a cat. And so like he pulls something out, and he has like, I guess in his lunch he has a piece of fish, and so he just drops the fish on the ground, and then he walks away, and he's got his briefcase, so it's like he's going to work, he's wearing a suit. And you see Michael, and he goes over and grabs a piece of fish, and he like looks around and eats it and then runs away. And then meanwhile, like you hear, I think right before the whole fish exchange goes on, before Michael's coming around the corner, there's like bubbles coming from the other side of the fence, and it's like, get out of here, you cat, whatever, insulting word, you animal, get out of here. And it's like the person next door is like verbally abusing and maybe even like kicking or like swatting at Michael with a broom. So then the next morning, the guy comes out of his house to go to work again, and Michael's not there, but he looks down and there's a dead rat. And he's like, oh, I didn't expect any sort of gratitude. And so Michael came and dropped him off a gift, like, thank you for giving me food yesterday. And then it goes over to the other side of the fence, and the guy like looks over to see what happened over there, and there's just like a pile of shit on the porch there. And it said, like, a lot of the chapters at the end will say moral of the story is blank, and it says moral of the story, like, a cat will remember and will return the favor or whatever. So if you treat a cat badly, it's going to shit on your porch, but if you treat it nicely, it's going to bring you a dead animal. So that was one of my favorite strips in that, but it was fun. I got it on eBay for like $8, and it's like a 500-page book, so it's a pretty decent chunk of material if you're into strip comics and stuff like that. And the second and final volume of the Fat Cat edition is due out by Dark Horse sometime this year, which was why it came to my attention. So I'll be happy to check it out. I'll definitely say, like, it's similar to other strip comics in that we were saying, I think we said on the show before, they're nice to like just read a couple things at a time and then, put it down. So that's kind of, but I'm really bad at doing that. I binged through all 500 pages in like 2 sittings, but it's the kind of thing where it would have been nice to just have it by my bed and like read a few strips at night and then go to sleep and something like that. But that was my most recent read, aside from just new volumes of different things that I've been keeping up with. So yeah, I'm gonna get out of here and I'll see you guys on the next one. And
where can they reach you on social media?
The name on the thing right here, the Omnibus Collector, for anyone who's watching who doesn't follow my channel, you can check me out there. I have that Superman video that I've been talking about, just needs to be edited. I'm not 100% sure I'm happy with what I filmed, but I guess I'll find out while I'm editing. And then I've got a couple of other videos in the works that I've been taking notes and stuff for.
All right.
So that's what we got.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. It was always fun to shit on something.
Take it easy, man.
Okay, this I don't want to. Tonight I'm not going to drag it out till midnight. I don't have the energy. So let's see. I believe we have. This is our email address, omnibroslive@gmail.com. This is the contest for the $50 gift card giveaway. So send us in the subject line, put IST card giveaway, and then in the body of the email, put your name and the email you use for IST. I will be doing this for 5 minutes.
Cool.
Because I have an early doctor's appointment, and I have some toys I want to play with, quite frankly, that I just got. So I'm looking forward to it. So omnibroslive@gmail.com for the next 5 minutes, and put the subject line is IST gift card, body of the email, your email address for IST, and your name. Okay, so I'll leave that up there, and I better open up our email. 1 second. Oh, we've already got some. Okay, good. We've got people sending stuff in already. Good.
Do you mind if I wax on real quick about Thunderbolt?
What Thunderbolt?
King in Black.
Wax, baby, wax.
So we got 2 issues because I'm reading some of the tie-ins for King in Black. And the Thunderbolts 2-issue tie-ins so far for King in Black are really fun. I think you'll dig it, Jess. They are really fun tie-ins. Essentially, Kingpin owns the copyright for Thunderbolts, so he hires all these villains to go save the city of New York because it's good publicity. And so he's got Taskmaster, the Rhino, Mr. Fearstar, like all the Batroc the Leaper is in this as well. Batroc the Leaper is in this, and he's hilarious. So he owns the copyright, and he sends them out basically to figure out a way to stop the solution. And they all have the same reaction. Well, how the hell are we going to stop all these symbiotes attacking the city? And Kingpin's response is, "Good question. I have no idea. Go out there and figure it out." And
Oxford Drugs wants to know what comic you're talking about.
Thunderbolts from the King in Black tie-ins.
Okay, so it's a tie-in to the King in Black. Now, is King in Black a main story? Like, there's a King in Black comic, and now it's an event. So it's King in Black, and there's tie-ins to King in Black.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm not really a tie-in guy, but this is genuinely really fun, and I think everybody should go out and pick this up. Like I said, only 2 issues out. You don't need to know anything about any of the characters. You just got to know they're D and C list villains, and they're basically trying to figure out how the hell we are going to stop the situation involving King in Black, and the city of New York getting taken over by symbiotes. You get to the end of issue 2, and they figure out kind of a solution. It's kind of dark, the solution they figure out, but I got a good chuckle out of it as well. So,
okay,
it's good. It's worth it.
Derek Tyler. No, I'm not familiar with Heavy Rotation. It ended yesterday. I didn't back it. I'm glad you did. Keep me posted on it. I'd be interested in knowing what you like about it, and if you do like it, then maybe I'll be able to buy it afterwards. I looked at my Kickstarter thing, and I've backed like 7 things, and I've just got to take a break eventually on Kickstarter. I've just got to take it easy. I think Kristan and I are going to do a show about our Kickstarter. She and I back a lot of the same Kickstarter stuff. Okay, let's see. Okay, I am now calling it. I am going to stop the contest. So first I'm going to take the banner down. Contest is over. And now I pick the winner. Inbox. I pick it using a random number generator. Diego Herrera, I don't. You're not helping yourself by entering 17 times. That's not gonna help you. It's gonna work against you, I think.
Mm-hmm. You get one shot at this, man.
Yeah.
If you're in the inbox, you're not gonna get it.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to run the number generate. Oh, wait a sec. It looks like we went to a second page. Okay, wait. Let me get that second page and run the thing here. Okay. How many people do we have here? Okay. And the winner is Charged 127. That's Joey Guzman.
Whoa!
Joey Guzman, you are the winner. Oops, I turned off the chat. Joey Guzman is the winner. You are you're the winner. You won, Joey. You won the $50 gift card. So first of all, Joey, I give this to Omar, and he sends it in at the end of the month. and then it'll take IST a couple days to get back to you. So it'll be next week before your card will be the credit will be added to your account. So don't worry, you've won, and you'll be able to use it next week at instocktrades.com, where you can get your collected editions up to 50% off. Loyalty discounts add 2% to that. There's a contest like this at the end of every month, provided by IST. Order $50 or more in an order, and you get free shipping in the US of A. Fabulous customer service, fabulous packaging. That's instocktrades.com.
Does it go through the mail on its way to IST? No, it does not.
No.
No.
That's a good question, though. I did NFL Dude. That's the last thing that I backed on Kickstarter was Excellence. I haven't heard of it, but somebody told me about it, so I'm backing it. Okay, I think that I did. I just talked about it. So you can find me, Omnidog, on Omnidog's Vault on YouTube, and on Instagram, Omnidogs_Vault. And Lou, what about you, dude?
You can find me at Comics Guide 101 on Twitter and Comics Guide 101 on YouTube, where you have my archive of old videos.
Right on, man. So we're ending the show, and we appreciate the chat. Chat was great tonight. We appreciate everybody watching this afterwards. If you could please hit the like button, feel free to comment, and please subscribe. We would appreciate it. Thanks to our sponsor, InStockTrades.com. Thanks to my co-hosts, and peace and love. Peace and love.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.